Adversaries may be closer than we think. On the community forums, a post just went up. Let's talk about it. I'm Professor Vocus, and this is Harry Potter Wizards Unite.
Hello, Professor. I didn't see you there.
Man, I just put up that video yesterday with the mention of adversaries, and man, they followed it right up with a post. It's a longer post. We're going to go over that post today. This video is just about this post. No gameplay today at all, but there's a lot to unpack here and a little bit to speculate on. But they have answered a lot of questions with either the pictures or the actual wording of the article. Some of the wording is exactly what we looked at, what was available already. They had already kind of talked about what was going to happen. But I'm not going to go over all of it. You can read it. It's at community.harrypotterwizardsunite.com. And it's going to be, you can see up at the top there, HPWU Lola, Lola. She posts often to the community. We've talked about her before. She communicates a lot of information to us. So anyway, just something wicked this way comes, ready your wands, adversaries, new type of encounter. It will be an encounter on the overworld map. It will not be in fortresses. So first question answered. Slytherin's Basilisk, Fenrir Greyback, Draco Malfoy, Bellatrix Lestrange. There's already been a good swarm of talking about Draco Malfoy, including him. People feel like since he kind of was redeemed at the end that he should not be included. I assume they're going back to Draco in the middle of things as opposed to, you know, how he finished up. So, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the actual adversaries themselves and how it's going to work. So the idea is going to be these are going to appear on the main map, either randomly, some of the lower level ones, I say lower level, we'll talk about the two levels, but some of them will be available all the time, and then others will be for only adversary events, which, great, a new type of event, that's something just different. I like it. Anyway, the idea is you won't just fight them immediately. You'll actually have to go through a chain of other, like, lesser foes. Different things, though. You'll see some of these screenshots in a sec. Lesser foes to get to them. So I know for some of them it might be like 3 things. You fight 2 things, and then you meet them in the 3rd thing, the official adversary. So anyway, if you look down, and if you lose at any time, you do heal in between battles, but if you lose at any time, it breaks the chain, and you get backed out, and then you have to start the whole thing over and go through all 3 battles again. Anyway, look at this first screenshot right here. It's got a Sphinx. Oh, the return of the Sphinx. So this was always a sticking point for a lot of people. In the Goblet of Fire, the book, in the maze, the 3rd task for the Goblet of Fire, there was a Sphinx, and it was a really cool encounter and stuff. So when the movie was coming out, I was excited. Everyone was excited for the Sphinx to be in the maze and in the movie and stuff. And then they just didn't even put it in. They didn't put it in at all. Anyway, here it is in the game, which tells me, look at that, the game is drawing more from the books. And so that we just have that much more to pull from. So fantastic. So anyway, you can see fighting a Sphinx. One thing you may notice about the Sphinx, if you go up in the corner, you can see it says 2 out of 3. Meaning on the 3rd battle, you'll actually meet the official, whatever your adversary is, and you're in the 2nd battle of this. So I've seen that in the corner system. You can see it's a purple bar, 1,706 health, so more health than the purple bar, usually meaning an elite foe. So moving down, you can see there's also the Vicious Mummy. And if you go in close, you can see, again, 2 out of 3. So it's the 2nd out of 3 battles. And then all the way down here, you can see Malfoy. Here's Malfoy. And you can see 3 out of 3, meaning you've met the end of the chain is the idea. So that just keeps track of that. You'll also notice against Malfoy, there's a Wit Sharpening and an Extimulo. So Wit Sharpening potions do work against these guys, which means Wit Sharpening potions, hopefully they work well, but it means that maybe they're relevant again. Maybe brewing them will become a regular thing for me. I have 1 right now. I haven't even used it in forever, so... Anyway, Wit Sharpening potions, Extimulo potions, both will be useful against these guys. All right, talking about the rewards, you actually get rewards for each battle you win. So if it's 3 battles, you'll get some out of the 1st, some out of the 2nd, some out of the 3rd, and it says incremental, meaning they will get greater as you go along. And what they list as your rewards, wizarding experience, challenge experience, a chance at defense against the dark arts books, and more. So maybe restricted section books, I don't know. The fact Defense Against Dark Arts books are a possibility, meaning it's probably like the field guides with some things where you get them sometimes you don't. I'm fine with that. It means I can just keep going after these things. So cool. You'll also get fragments listed on the adversary's registry pages for doing this. And then you can place objects, and that grants you rewards like challenge experience and Defense Against Dark Arts books. Nice. Another way to get it. So you can see here's one registry page. It's for Draco Malfoy. And in it, I can see it's Draco. It's a prefix Slytherin badge. It's a wand. It's a broom. I'm not sure what type of broom. Unfortunately, they don't put that. And then the Potter Stinks buttons there. That was from Goblet of Fire too. So then we go down a little bit further, and we can see Bellatrix's. Bellatrix got the Death Eater Max. It has Creature, has her wand, has the knife she killed Dobby with. Sad. And then it has her herself. And then you can see, it doesn't show it, but you can see Lord Voldemort's header right there, but it doesn't show his page. So anyway, continuing down, this is where we get into the two classes of adversaries. They are feared and lethal. And we're not going to go into everything, but here's the idea. Feared adversaries are kind of the lower level ones. They're the ones that are available, I say, all the time. You have the potential to see them all the time. They could be out there right now, but it's not activated yet, so they're not there now. But the lethal ones are the ones that happen during events themselves. That's how they've at least classified it. So the lethal ones are only initially during certain special monthly adversaries events. Again, when this actually gets dropped, the feared ones will be available, but the lethal ones won't. Some of them you'll probably have the page, but you won't even have them. Kind of think the dragons. They're there, but you can't get it until the event comes out when that thing is there. And they said they're going to roll those out slowly. So one event might introduce something, and then the next event might introduce something. I'm not sure if they'll be available regionally. That doesn't really make sense. So it'll just be during the events as far as we can say. And the last thing is it kind of implies that it'll start with the, I say, lower level lethal enemies and then work up. Which, if you think about it, it would just, in general, it would mean Lord Voldemort will be the last thing that gets introduced. It'll kind of ramp its way up to him event to event. Another item will be entering the game called an edible dark mark, consumable. It's the edible dark mark. So a dark mark you can eat. Anyway, it will spawn feared adversaries. So essentially, instead of having to put dark detectors down or using tonic for trace detection, you would actually eat one of those, and then you'll have more adversaries pop up. And if you look right here, and I'll try to zoom in. Zoom in right there, you can see the dark mark. It definitely looks different than the other ones. And according to them again, the feared and lethal adversaries, you'll be able to tell the difference. Kind of like the beams for other foundables, you'll be able to tell the difference between the two of them. There will be some requirements for seeing adversaries. One of them is that you have to be level 15, and then make sure you're properly invested in your combat profession. So after completing a single profession tree, a new lesson plan will be available. Boom, I'm coming down here to the training. So here it is. I'll zoom in a little bit for you so you can kind of see. So there you go. There will be some new training. If you notice, they're in the combat training. They are on the combat training, not the SOS training portion of things. So it will be listed there. Up in the top there, you can see it has scrolls listed, spell books listed, restricted section books, and Defense Against Dark Arts books are listed as resources across the top. Does that mean that they will use all those resources? Yes, probably, because they're listed there. I definitely would assume scrolls and spell books so that people have a use for them. So hopefully you've been saving them. Restricted section books, I could totally see that. And then Defense Against Dark Arts books, I can definitely see that because we are fighting against those type of foes. So moving down, it just says, do you think you have what it takes? The arrival of adversaries in Harry Potter is imminent. Now, instead of soon, they've used the word imminent. So stay tuned for the latest updates. So there's still a bit more we're going to need to know when that does come out. But man, that gave us a lot of good information. Those screenshots definitely help with kind of understanding how this is going to work. I am over the moon with this. I'm ecstatic about this. I really think it adds a lot to the game. To me, it's in Pokemon Go, to relate it to Pokemon Go, when they added Team Rocket, those of you that ever played it. Because it used to be going around collecting things. And then it was you could actually fight against these NPC trainers and do this. And it kind of reminds me of that it just adds a different element to the game. I would actually argue it's closer to Harry Potter than what we've been doing. Because Pokemon always was about gotta catch 'em all. It was a game. It was always about collecting the things. Harry Potter, we like watching the movies. We like that universe, and it's about being a wizard. And in the movies, at least, it's about eventually defeating the dark army of Voldemort. So for me, this finally adds that element where, is it about me collecting things, or is it about me fighting against dark wizards and fighting against things like that, leading into that, going into battles? This, I feel, is more thematically Harry Potter. So I'm very excited about this aspect. Certainly the other aspect will still be there, but this definitely adds another layer that really, even if the Calamity ended, they could do things with this. So I like it for the future of the game as well. Anyway, adversaries coming imminently now. Man, if they come in the next week or two, that would be fantastic going into the holiday season. On a separate note, during this, I was actually putting together the guide for Community Day weekend. That will probably come out tomorrow based on the fact I'm putting this video out today. So be on the lookout for that, the Wizarding Weekend, with the Quidditch Pitch 2 being the main theme of it. But with the adversaries out, wanted to get this information out first for you guys. As always, thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Knox.